Wednesday night, we finally got to see the reveal for the upcoming Black Ops 4 Call of Duty World League. And it's full of interesting changes, to say the least, for the upcoming season. If you missed part 1 of our video, you can see that discussion on the 5v5 in the link that is appearing on your screen right now. But today, Connor and I are going to discuss pretty much just random, no particular order, just our general thoughts and feelings about the various other things that they talked about during the reveal. So I'll start us off. The first thing that I'm kind of excited about, and at the same time, I'm wondering if it actually has to do with the 5v5, is the increase in the prize pools and the ability to win money per match. So the 5v5, in our original 5v5 video, where we discussed whether or not we thought it was going to happen, one of the concerns was money. Of, okay, well now you have an extra player, you have to pay that player, so is that going to put a strain? But for this season, we have more money, larger prize pools, so I'm wondering if that's maybe how they're mitigating that effect, that the organizations will be able to continue operating at current operating speed because now they have at least the ability to bring more money in. So I like that they got that in. It also makes the stakes a little higher, so we're going to see in each game, hopefully some people, in every game there's something on the line, there's money on the line, so hopefully we're seeing everybody's best all the time. I think that'll be exciting to watch.
Part of that is they're going to have to pay an extra player. So, I mean, if the top 8 teams got paid before, and now there's an extra 8 players that are going to be placed in the top 8, in order for everyone to get the same amount of money, there needs to be a bigger prize pool. So that's definitely a part of it, but it's nice that they at least addressed that issue. They could have just been like, nope, 5v5, we're keeping all the same prize pools, that's okay. And even with the increased money, it's not like it's really hurting them, because, they're making their money.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the other thing I was thinking, is that it's a healthy sign for Call of Duty. The fact that companies are investing in competitive play, the fact that the prize pools continue to increase each year, it means that the Call of Duty community, even though people love to bash Call of Duty, it's obviously healthy, it's obviously growing. I mean, the numbers just speak for that themselves.
I think another big thing is the no region-based roster locks. Now, I think a lot of people were throwing this, brushing this aside, oh, this isn't that big of a deal.
I'm one of them.
And I don't think it's a big deal for the top teams. I don't think you're going to see any, super teams combined of EU players and, NA players. And I don't think you're going to see, the Red Reserves and the Unilads and stuff like that break up. Where I think it's a big deal is I think it's a really big deal for mid-tier European teams. The teams that are never good enough to, make deep runs, but they're maybe the 3rd best European team. And where I think that's a big deal is their top players can now go and join mid-tier, NA teams, and they can win. Because mid-tier NA teams can place. Mid-tier EU teams cannot place in tournaments. And that's where I think it's going to be a big difference for European players, and I think it just increases the talent pool.
I think what's going to help them the most is I noticed that their tournaments are going to happen at the same time as the Pro League, but the championships, so the grand finals of the amateur circuit, will be main stage viewing for the amateurs. So we'll be able to see, even though we won't maybe not all the time watch all of the other amateur teams, you'll get to see who are those up-and-coming amateur teams. They'll get to be on the main stage and be like, okay, that's a team to watch out for. If they can improve for champs, maybe they have the potential for an upset or two or something. We know who the teams are to watch at that point. So I think being able to have that better insight into the amateur circuit is going to be really good to be able to see kind of where Call of Duty is going each year and kind of figure out who are those players who are going to break in as other players leave.
Well, I think that they did say something about the amateur circuit finals is just going to act as the LCQ this year for champs. So remember last year there was the LCQ where all the amateur teams played. Well, now that all the amateur teams are playing for the whole season, and the best 4 teams should in theory finish.
Right.
Then those are going to act as the last 8 teams or whatever it is that go to champs. So yeah, no, I think this is great. I think where this is great is before the amateur teams had no way of gauging themselves against other amateur teams. I mean, yes, they could scrim each other online and they could try to find other top AM teams, but then that's just like a burden to do. This year, they're saying, look, you guys aren't the best 16, but you're the best 17 to 32 teams in the country. You guys play each other every day, and you're going to get better, and you're going to get better, and you're going to get better, and you're going to get, recognized by these pro teams. And this is only going to help the scene, because next year, say, 7 people in the pro league, I'm just throwing out numbers, 7 people in the pro league retire or fall off or whatever. You have this young amateur division team that's up and coming that the pros know. They probably run into them a lot, at events and all this stuff. Like they're taking an eye out for this. And I know that, there's a lot of stuff we don't see in the scene, and a lot of these top amateurs are known by pro players anyway, but this is just going to even help it more. Like, players that are totally unknown can become known, and they can become known by fans, and they can become known by pro players.
The last thing I want to discuss is basically how you qualify for the Pro League, which there's like 10 different ways between now and January that you're able to qualify. What I like is that they did, if you kept 3 of your 4 players, that you're grandfathered in for the Pro League. I think it's top 4, or at least Vegas. I think it's just Vegas. For Vegas, you go straight into pool play if you have 3 of your 4 players, which makes sense. If you're in the Pro League and you kept most of your roster, it's safe to assume. But at the same time, we know that a lot of teams have already changed. A lot of those top tier teams that you're looking to have already changed up.
Yeah.
So nobody's really safe. And then when it comes to the Pro League itself, the top 4 will qualify for the Pro League, which isn't that many. So now we have roster mania that we're going to start looking out for. And as those rosters start to form, we'll start to get a better idea of what their strategy is going to be going into these first 2 tournaments and how that they're going to solidify their spot in the Pro League.
Yeah, and I mean, I think going back to that keeping 3 players thing, I mean, I can't think of a lot of teams that are probably going to stay together. I know that they're saying FaZe is probably going to stay together.
I heard a lot of that too. Yeah, I think FaZe will be together.
I mean, I guess in theory, you could see maybe EU staying together, because I know they say Clayster's staying. They're talking about Optic, Optic, everyone's like, Optic has to keep methods or else they're not going to qualify. Well, no, I mean, if they pick up TJ, who won 3 events in this last COD, and then you add that to Scump and Prim, it doesn't matter who the other 2 they pick up are, even if they add Dashy, I'm sure Dashy has a decent amount of pro points. With those 4, they're probably going to be in the top 16 in pro points, regardless of their 5th. It doesn't matter. So, pro teams don't really have to worry about. That's kind of like they made this bold statement and said, "Oh, you need to retain 3 players," and then in small print they're like 4 pro points, and it's like, "Oh, okay, no one worried about this anymore."
Right. All right, guys, leave a comment down below what you think, what your kind of thoughts and feelings are coming into the season. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed today's video. We release new content at a minimum every Wednesday and Saturday. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to catch all our latest content, and check out the description for a link to our Twitter. We are Bracon out.